Something's coming. Something dark. I sense it.
Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
Lucasfilm recently announced the writing credits for the Ahsoka show, and it's as perfect as anyone might expect. The highly anticipated project is set to follow Rosie R. Dawson's titular former Jedi, as she hunts down for the infamous Grand Admiral Thrawn. She'll also be teaming up with Natasha Liu Bordizzo's Sabine Wren, Mary Elizabeth Winston's Hera, and Iman Estefani's Ezra Bridger, and so many more beloved characters. And so really, in a lot of different ways, the series is a direct sequel, in a way, to the animated show Star Wars Rebels, something that's really helped fan the flames of anticipation for the fan base. And so the writing credits for Ahsoka's 8 episodes were just confirmed thanks to the Writers Guild of America website. And so as listed on the series' section on their portal, showrunner Dave Filoni is the only credited writer for all 8 episodes. And so really just that being said, it's one of those things that just makes sense. Of course, Dave Filoni is the creator of Ahsoka and her overall story with Star Wars The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels as well, and so to see him carry that on to her own show as the live action show, a part of the Mandoverse, Ahsoka, it's one of those things that is just perfect. And so Dave Filoni being attached as the writer for all 8 installments and episodes is a fairly unique situation. Usually, multiple writers will take on different episodes on shows like this, especially shows that are a part of a greater universe, like the Mandoverse, or comparing it to the MCU. And so previously before, when we look at the Mandoverse with the different seasons of The Mandalorian, all 3 of the different seasons, all of the various Mandalorian episodes have always been written by at least Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Same thing for the Book of Boba Fett, so to see that going forward, that really only Dave Filoni is the one that's being credited to have written Ahsoka is really unique, and honestly, I have a lot of faith for it. I think it's going to be amazing. Even Jon Favreau didn't write all of the episodes of The Mandalorian. One of those instances was the episode titled The Jedi in Season 2, where Ahsoka was first introduced in live action. It was written by exactly who of the one that might have expected, and had also directed that episode, Dave Filoni. It just makes sense, seeing that he's the one that has kind of the creator of this overall character. He kind of knows where Ahsoka's story begins, it goes, and where it ends. And so recently, in a recent interview with Screen Rant, Dave Filoni talked about the process of creating the Ahsoka show, where he had recounted how he's been with the character since the beginning, and how he can't believe sometimes that George Lucas stuck it out with him. As Dave Filoni says in full quote in that interview with Screen Rant, it's a very unique thing, her journey, because, when I started out, the character was 14 years old, roughly. I try not to actually nail down exact years and things to keep things a bit open, but it's a special experience to watch this character grow, and in a lot of ways mirrors my own growth as a filmmaker and my ability to tell stories. When I started, I had so much to learn. I still look back and can't believe sometimes that George Lucas had stuck it out with me. He must have thought, this guy, he really has got a long way to go. Ending that quote right there, of course, referring to himself into the eyes of what George Lucas might have been thinking about a young, kind of crazy and just hungry to tell stories Dave Filoni, as he was first beginning out in the whole Star Wars scene with the Clone Wars animated show. And so when it came to the live action approach, Dave Filoni had to learn again the different subtleties and nuances of writing a script in that format. For when it comes to live action, for one thing, but when you're connecting it to a overall universe of what the Mandoverse is, as it's taking place after the events of the original trilogy. As Dave Filoni says in full quote in that same interview with Screen Rant, but George Lucas put in a lot of time and did a lot of Jedi training, and each episode felt like a paper that was reviewing how much we were all learning in the animation division. I carried that over when I finally went to live action, but I had to learn again the different subtleties and nuances of writing a script for that versus what I do in animation, Dave Filoni says, ending that quote right there. And I really have to say, I always find it so fascinating and exciting and special, I think is the proper word I'm looking for, about when Dave Dave Filoni talks about his early on years and his beginning, his overall origins with Star Wars, what it was like to work with George Lucas in those early days of the Star Wars The Clone Wars animated show. The two of them never knew that it would spiral off to be one of the most beloved things, and even at that, one of the most incredible things in the Star Wars universe and franchise to this day. And so also looking back at Clone Wars was a thing before Disney had actually bought the rights of Star Wars from George Lucas. It was still just, well, Lucasfilm. It was still small. And it really makes perfect sense of how Dave Filoni would be the sole writer for the series, even if that practice isn't too common. The filmmaker has been with the character of Ahsoka since the start of her existence. He's the creator of Ahsoka, and with his increasing position at Lucasfilm, there's no reason why that would need to change. Dave Filoni has basically been heavily involved with every project telling a story with Ahsoka to date. The only notable exception to that would have to be E.K. Johnson's Ahsoka novel, which Filoni did not write. However, he was involved with the process and consulted with the author throughout many times. Though, most recently, Dave Filoni did write an episode of Tales of the Jedi that all but retold Johnson's book in a new, shorter, animated installment, making that novel not even a part of canon. It's now a part of Legends. It is almost like the writer wanted to tell those moments of the character's life in his own way, and that Dave Filoni said, hey, this is my character, I'm taking this, your book's not canon anymore, it's now Legends, and reiterated that overall novel into, well, a shorter, more sweeter installment in an animated style for Tales of the Jedi, of course changing a few things here and there. And so thankfully, Filoni is an extremely talented creative, so having him write all 8 episodes is a great sign. And so of course, hopefully his work will be able to live up to or even exceed the heavy expectations that the Ahsoka show is already creating. So overall here, our overall takeaway here from this new report here, this interview here with Dave Filoni, what we find very interesting here about it, something that's unique and different that we haven't seen with Star Wars necessarily in this day and age, especially ever since the Lucasfilm days where it was just George Lucas and his team with their independent stories and trilogies of the original trilogy, the prequels, a few of the novels and games. Now you have a more corporatized and much larger company, Disney, that is over with Star Wars here, of course. Normally their projects involve many different creatives and writers working on them. Now, of course, who isn't to say that Dave Filoni didn't call up Jon Favreau here and there and maybe ask about or consult with him about where different things may work into the future of the overall Mandoverse. Anyway, I'm definitely hopeful for it, and I'm more than looking forward to the Mandoverse movie that Dave Filoni is also going to be directing and writing by himself. So let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. What are you looking forward to seeing with the Ahsoka show and Dave Filoni in the future, and what he has in store for the future of Star Wars? Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching today's video. May the Force be with you as always. Of course, this has been an official Star Wars. Have a great one, guys. Peace out.